American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. This show is brought to you by DraftKings, and we're starting this hour with some Major League Baseball as Jensen Lewis joins the program. He played with the Cleveland Indians back in 2007 to 2010. He's an analyst now on MLB Network Radio. He joins the program here on the Progressive Guest Line. Jensen, good morning. A pleasure to talk to you as always. How are you?
Doing great, boys. Happy Masters Week, and I figured I would dress appropriately for the segment today.
Love the shirt. There you go. Who's your pick to win?
All right, so you obviously our good man Jeff Seeley on with you guys earlier, and I love following him. I'm rooting for chaos. I hope it's a long shot. I know he likes Shane Lowry and Hideki and Brooks, so I honestly would love to see Brooks there at the end, and I think it's going to be just a great tournament overall.
Okay, so I love betting the Cy Young winner in the American League and the National League every single year. It is early on here, so I don't want to go too crazy, and I'll give you an example. You know, I'm tracking those games online yesterday, and Corbin Burns was great again for the Orioles. And then Glasnow pitched a little bit later on, and he had 14 Ks, and it was absolutely brilliant. And I'm looking, and I'm going from book to book looking for Cy Young numbers. And then that idea popped in my head again that we talked about yesterday, and that is you need to dial it back here because of the news with Valdez and Bieber and Strider and Cole and others. At this point of the season, with what's going on, starting pitchers in their arms, do we need to dial it all back on futures, divisions, Cy Young, all of it for the most part?
So, Mitch, I guess two ways to go about it. Number one, I would say if you're looking at Cy Youngs, that's disposable income. Assume you're not getting any of that back because you're right. Just with what we've seen here in the first 3 weeks or so of these starting pitchers going on with just literally elbow inflammation, let alone the big dogs that have the UCL reconstructions coming up. I really am blown away by just the last 2 years of guys. But I don't think I'm surprised. I was telling you guys in the break that I went through the Driveline program in 2012 with Trevor Bauer when we were teammates in Arizona in AAA. And I didn't do any of the med balls. I didn't do any of the plyos, but I did the long toss program. And I was his catch play partner every day when he finally came up to AAA. I think it was in May at some point. I was 89 to 91 miles an hour out of spring training. I was 93 to 95 miles an hour by the end of that season. So that's a 6-month timeline there. And that's a lot better as far as the ramp up, if you will. I think we're seeing some guys go too much too quick. And I think Dr. Keith Meister had talked about it yesterday. He's done already 70 ligament surgeries or operations just in the first quarter. Guys, the first 3 months of the year, 70. Wow. He did 230 all of last year. It's an epidemic. And I don't know if we have enough answers right now, but some of the tough questions are coming. And I think we're going to have to take a hard look at some of these programs that are really stressing the high velo, the high spin rates. It's been a big issue about why these ligaments are just blowing out left and right.
Is there something to athletes are bigger, better, faster, stronger?
Yeah, absolutely, Pauly. And I think for the human body, we all know just physiologically throwing a baseball is one of the worst things you can do to the body in general. And to me, I still believe that not enough is being done. And this is individual to individual, not speaking for everybody here. But as far as the recovery, Pauly, that is as paramount, if not most paramount for a pitcher. Okay. You need that body to be able to recover so that it can handle that increased workload.
So when I used to watch Justin Verlander pitch, he would always start with the velo around low 90s, right? And then by the middle to to the latter part of the game, he'd be touching 97, 99, 100 miles an hour. He would ramp up like you're talking about. I heard Adam Burke, who's a VSiN, he's awesome on the website here. He guests on several shows. He was on with Sharp Money yesterday right here on VSiN, and he said that the velocity in the first inning now, the average velocity in the first inning is higher than the average velo in the ninth inning, which when you think about it like that, to your point, right, all these guys are coming out of the gates and saying, I'm touching 100 right now. They're faster than closers, which is bonkers.
Yeah, if you guys go back, I think Codify put out a post yesterday on social media about it. Go back to 2008, guys. That was my first full year in the big leagues. And look at average fastball velocity from the first inning through the ninth inning, to your point, Mitch. And now look at it just, 12, 14, 15 years later and see just the parabolic increase in it. Then also go to that point, perhaps in 2012, 2013, where Driveline really started to be a part of the mainstream and then integrated into a lot of these major league developmental systems. The other part of this too, guys, go down to the college level. Look at how many guys are throwing 95 plus. And those are 18 to 21-year-old bodies that are still physically maturing.
Mm-hmm.
And then even farther down at the amateur levels where you're looking at 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, and parents are allowing this to happen. Coaches are really paying no mind to the health and the recovery. That's why I said this isn't just at the big league level, guys. This is all the way down to where there's no real regard for being able to recover and allow the body to do what it needs to do naturally to repair itself. So it doesn't shock me. You have guys, and I'll take Verlander, as Adam talked about. I mean, he's 40 plus years old. The odometer on that arm, it's just a matter of time. The human body can't handle it at that point with the amount of innings. But I really feel that overall, as you look back here in the last 5 to 10 years, we got a serious problem with some of the processes. And then these designer pitches too, where you have the Rapsodo and guys can literally break down thousands of a frame to try and, tweak grips and things like that. It'll be there's tough questions coming, guys, much sooner than later.
You had a cup of coffee as a closer. Can you share that story and what advice you have? I mean, what's going on in Pittsburgh? The guy's blown 3 of his first 4 save opportunities. You let the fans down. The entire organization, the guys you play with, you have to feel awful. You also have to have a short memory. But the guy's he was at a great year last year. He got booed off the field yesterday.
It's a thankless job, Pauly. And we make the analogy, we are like the field goal kickers, right? You only hear about us when we miss the kick or we blow the save. So for me, I closed the second half of 2008, and my first major league save opportunity was in then Skydome there in Toronto. And I had no expectation whatsoever going in. They called me 8th inning and said, you're in. And I'm like, did somebody die? Like, what's going on here? So it was crazy. And I mean, it's not for everyone. That much is true. It's a different heart rate. It's a different mentality. But the ability to simplify the process, and Pauly, you hit on it. The guys that don't have the short memories, the guys that can't live day to day are really going to struggle in those roles. And the greats of our time where you saw Mariano Rivera and Trevor Hoffman, the way they do it. You mentioned David Bednar there in Pittsburgh, who's been so great. It is one of those things that in our day and age, the more guys can just be pitch to pitch day to day, those are your really successful high-end leverage and closing relievers.
Overall, despite his struggles so far, are you buying the Pirates? They were nearly the first team to 10 wins yesterday.
How about that, guys? I mean, I picked the Brewers to win the National League Central again this year. I did feel that Pittsburgh would take another step forward, just considering what they've done, not only in that rotation. You would expect Paul Skeens at some point this year, and with a healthy O'Neill Cruz, it's a different dynamic atop that lineup. That division's wide open. I mean, it's amazing to see what this offense has been capable of thus far. But again, you'll look back and see, okay, a couple of these blown leads in April. Does that mean the difference in September when every win counts?
Yeah. Okay, so you have your eyes on a first 5 total today involving which 2 teams?
Yeah, I'll stay in the backyard here, boys, in Cleveland. Good pitching matchup today, a rubber match between the White Sox and the Guardians. You've got Eric Fetty and Tanner Bybee on the mound. It was blowing out like crazy yesterday. 7 total runs in that first inning. I think we would get back to the mean a little bit today. I would expect both guys to come out really well. So I think it's 4.5 at most places for that first 5, like the under right there. And, I think the way that Cleveland has gone, especially with Tanner Bybee, if you look at his numbers following a team loss, it's pretty astronomically high that Cleveland wins those games. So if you want to look at that Cleveland money line as well, I think that's a great way to look.
You're going to get creative. You want to bet on a couple of batters to get a hit today, but you don't want to bet them individually. You want to parlay them. Who are they?
Yeah, I would love an Isaac Paredes and a Marcell Ozuna just parlay just to get a hit. Both guys on 9-game hitting streaks. They're really seeing the ball well. Great matchup for Ozuna today, too, going against the lefty Jose Quintana with the Mets. And then Paredes is just seeing it really well. So if you even want to get more creative, and we'll take the Masters theme here, guys. If you want to parlay those guys and a Scotty Scheffler outright or a top 10, give you a little bit better odds there as well.
All right. Do you like the Yankees? Do you love the Yankees? Are you calling them Fugazi? 10 wins already on the year, Jensen.
I think I almost knocked Pauly out when I told you guys I predicted chaos in the American League side. I had the Yankees missing the playoffs. I had the Rays winning the division. So April is always overreaction month for me. A credit to them for doing what they're doing without Garrett Cole. Anxious to see what happens, though, when they really start playing some significant competition in May and June once the league starts to catch up a little bit. I just don't know if they're sustainable in that rotation the way they're going.
Well, I mean,
Rodon did it again.
Yeah, I know.
Another good start.
How popular was that bet, their win total to the under? I mean, that number moved at least 2 wins, right?
Yep.
So you weren't the only one.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And again, Rodon's on my fantasy team, full disclosure, so I'm glad. I know it's the Marlins, but that velocity creeping up the way it has, I think highest average fastball velocity he's had in his career. Here's the key, guys. They absolutely need Giancarlo Stanton and the bottom of that lineup to produce. If that thing goes south, you're going to see a lot of teams start pitching around Soto and Judge.
Jensen, great spot as always. You can follow him on X. He's at JLew50. Catch him on MLB Network Radio. Jensen Lewis joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Thanks so much. Enjoy the games tonight, and have fun betting and watching the Masters as well.
You got it. Thanks, boys. We'll talk soon.
Be good.
Thank
there you go. He loves him some golf with the Masters shirt on, the Cleveland shirt on. Up next, here on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. What a wild night in sports last night. The NBA was as drunk as it gets. Pauly, the details coming up next.
Last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Incredible night in sports. Welcome to the last week of the NBA season. The Bucks plus 1.5 went off a 3-point favorite, covered no problem against Boston. The Mavericks from 10.5 up to 13, and the over 219.5 to 224. 130 to 104. No problem there. Rockets, Magic over, 211 up to 216. 118, 106 Houston. The Pacers from 8 up to 14. They were down big early, but covered. I think they scored 120 points in the last 3 quarters. The Knicks from 2 up to 5. Brunson does it again. The Knicks do it again. They win 128 to 117. The Spurs from 2.5 up to 6. Beat Memphis by 15. The Warriors plus 2 went off the favorite, the over 232 up to 236. They beat the Lakers and they hit 26 threes in the game. OKC from 2 up to 5.5. They were down 20. They covered. The Clippers were plus 350 on the money line. They also clinched the division last night. First to 10 prop comes in. The Dodgers were plus 270. At DraftKings, the Yankees were 19 to 1.
19 to 1.
Johnny Avello said they wrote incredible business on it, over 10,000 bets. People couldn't get enough of that prop. Awesome market.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yep. White Sox 2 to 1. They won. Hockey, Tampa Bay Lightning, $3 up to $3.60. And the New York Rangers, thanks to Jonathan Davis, 13-1 overrun. 13 of their last 14 gone over 5.5 goals. And they lost last night. I would not want to see the Islanders in the first round of the playoffs, who are hot. Soccer. Horrible loss by Leicester City. Millwall plus 450. It's Championship League. Leeds. Sunderland draw plus 430. Carlisle United plus 350 in League One. How about Champions League?
The goals?
3-3 and 2-2. So much for the first legs are usually unders. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, draw 3-1. Man City, Real Madrid plus 240. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. To check out all the videos, what we usually do, Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. How about the pit bull with the stick here? This is an all-timer. Look at the size of this stick that he finds. Come in.
Oh, that's a full tree. That's a trunk.
Right, yeah, right. That's your big boy here. I can't tell how big the dog is. But that is, where did he find this thing? And it's like a teeter-totter. It's coming down. Oh, I'm going to tip over, right?
That's got to be 8 feet long.
Yeah. And he's got it the whole time. Pitter-patter.
This is what I play with right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm a big boy.
And he's out there, and there's plenty of room. Not a care in the world. And now I'm entertained. I'm all set.
Hey, buddy, I asked for the big one.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
That's right. That's great. Augustine sent this in. The only game in town, Ultimate X. He sat down right away. He's playing dollar double-double. He gets dealt 3s and a kicker 4 times, $3,200.
Oh, bam.
Good for you.
Dealt.
That's right.
Beautiful.
That is awesome. Send it in. We'll put you on television. Lose some. Hard to believe. But the Suns from 3.5 up to 9.5. Never a game. I put it on. I couldn't believe it. 35-4 late in the first quarter, Clippers. Guardians 195 up to 245, no good. Pelicans from 10 up to 14. They won by 10. And what happened to the Philadelphia Flyers? They lost 9-3 to Montreal. They've lost 8 in a row. They were shooing for the playoffs. They're out.
Yeah, this is
nuts.
It's basically an all-time spiral job.
It is. Total choke job. Lost 8 in a row and getting hammered every night. They play the Rangers tomorrow. That's not going to go well. Couple lose some videos. Here's the picture. We can't show videos and highlights. Here's Torrey Craig last night on a 3-on-0. He throws the ball off the backboard. He's going to dunk it. And Drummond thinks it's for him. Like, why would a guy do that to himself? Drummond, blocks his own shot in the dunk. And I think Drummond got hurt later in the game. And look at Torrey Craig's face. As I'm going to throw it off the backboard and throw it down. Oh, my teammate blocks my shot.
Yep, missed it. The dunk, obviously.
Yeah.
So, also, bad job by Torrey Craig. The alley-oop to himself off the backboard. He was throwing it up there for Victor Wembanyama on stilts.
Yeah, well, that too.
It was,
I don't know if he puts
20
it
feet
down.
high.
Yeah, if it all goes as planned, I don't even know if he throws it down.
What is Drummond doing?
I don't know. Well, what's Craig doing?
By just going for the dunk.
Come on. You're not up 30 in like a Final Four game.
Right. It's not.
You're
you
under
have 2 minutes left in the game.
You're under 500. It's the first half of a regular season game. And you're out here like it's the Globetrotters.
His look.
Yes, look at that. What just happened? Let's go to Boston, Fenway. Lose some. O'Neal's home run off the windshield. Man, that's going to be a problem, right? Imagine that's happened to you, right? Baseball practice?
It did. High school. Yeah, it went through the garage in a guy's house, and he had a commode out in the garage and broke his toilet, and he was not happy with the school.
Yeah. Well, the only highlight for the Red Sox.
Hey, side note, Tyler O'Neill has 6 home runs.
Oh, really?
Getting a lot of messages from those watching the show on Nesson saying he's built for this park.
Okay.
Remember, he's the guy that I made a big case for to have most home runs 2 years ago.
That's right. I was
and he hit one on opening day, and then he got hurt, and it was no chance. But
all right. Well, whiskey and a revolver. Here come your bad beats. So I mentioned what that first 10 prop was. Well, peekaboo. Now, it is graded as a dead heat. But the Pirates played an afternoon game. Mm-hmm. Their reliever blew it again. They booed him off the field. They were 55-1 first to 10. That would have been their 10th win.
Wow.
That would have been the 10th win for the Pirates.
Well,
so not only do they blow the game, they blow the prop, and you blow a big ticket too.
He was also automatic last year as the closer, Bednar, for the Pirates.
Yeah.
This means because they brought in Chapman this year to be the setup guy, I'm guessing Chapman's going to get a look at the closer spot now very soon.
Braves run line, $1.10. Led 6-0 in the 8th. Are you kidding me?
Oy.
They won 6-5. Twins Dodgers under 8, 6-0 in the 8th, 6-1 in the 9th. Goes over. Cillian Murphy's been good for the Dodgers.
Oh, 14
Glasnow?
strikeouts?
Yeah. Now, can you trust him in like Game 7? That's a different discussion.
Well, is he going to be healthy in June?
Yeah, well, okay, fair. But he's going to be great for the Dodgers. Action-packed fight card taking over Las Vegas, UFC 300. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the UFC. You can turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the app, promo code VEASAN when you sign up. Heat Hawks was a horrible beat as well. Goes over because of double overtime. Pedro Martinez on X. When we see so many up-and-coming pitchers with fewer than 200 innings in the minors, lots of muscle mass, underworked ligaments, and a team demanding max velocity on everything they throw, we're seeing the perfect lethal combo for our injuries.
Yep. Right, makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, it's been rough. And it could get worse, too. And you're losing big names left and right. What's happened so far.
It's almost every single day.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how long Cole's out, what happens with Valdez, and who was the other guy? Strider. What happens with Strider? I mean, imagine we lose like 6-7 guys like this already.
Well, I mean, as Jensen Lewis said 10 minutes ago, it's not just this year, it's the tail end of what happened last year, too. A ton of guys who are out to begin this season. And huge names.
Know. Yeah. I go back, and I was a Cubs fan. I used to watch every game. And I just, Greg Maddux, it's all about location, baby. Yeah. Not everyone's like Maddux, but it's just, I'm going to put the ball wherever I want, and okay.
Do you think
I'm going to get you out with location and my brain.
Would Maddux work today in baseball?
Yeah, he'd work.
Would he be as dominant as he was? By finding the location?
Great. Yeah, you could put it wherever he wanted.
Not blowing batters away?
Yeah, he would also scout his ass off, and I mean, he knew. I mean, it just how smart he was. I mean, that story on the bench, he's like, hey, watch out. The next one's coming here, the foul ball. What? What are you talking about? Get out of the way. Eddie Perez looks at him like he has two heads. You know, I think it was Bagwell. Bagwell or Sheffield. I'm going to throw the ball. I'm going to pitch him right here. But I know he's just going to miss the home run, but he's going to fly out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right.
He's throwing darts out there.
He's just, yeah.
Nolan Ryan pitched until he was 46-ish, throwing 100 miles an hour for much of his career.
Well, that's a good example. He would throw 150 pitches.
Oh, that 1 year, I think he averaged more than 170 per game.
Yeah.
So that actually happened. And today, forget about it. You're done. I mean, 24 years old, 27 years old, whatever. You might have 2 Tommy Johns by then.
Yeah.
So something's going to have to happen at the low. I mean, everybody is coming out saying it's at the lower level. Then they're probably right.
Yes.
I'm going to agree with the smart people on this one. The doctors, the former pitchers. It's a problem. This is how it can be fixed. Then they should probably, they need to be followed.
How long would it take you to demote a closer?
3 chances?
I know this guy was great last year, but no. he's had 4 opportunities. He's blown 3 already.
Oh. Got Chapman, so I think that's enough.
Yeah.
VEASAN host, golf betting extraordinaire, Wes Reynolds on the program coming up next. We'll get his breakdown of the Masters here and follow the money. It's VEASAN, the Sports Betting Network.
Limited time offering 2 weeks of our exclusive betting splits for free. Just sign up, VEASAN.com/splits. It's updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes. You can check out future events as well. Limited time offer, VEASAN.com/splits to claim your free 2-week access to the betting splits. Go get it today, VEASAN.com/splits.
VEASAN host Wes Reynolds joins the program now. His show is called VEASAN Tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern with Matt Humans right here on the network. Also does a great job on the Long Shots golf podcast here, the very popular golf podcast on VEASAN. He joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Wes, good morning. We're 1 day away here, pal. It's like Christmas Eve for you. How are you?
Where I feel good about my card going in, and then come Friday, it's like, okay, why did I bet these guys?
Of course, yes. Well, let's start here because you can make a case for a lot of the golfers near the top of the odds board here, but just based on the numbers, you got to draw a line through somebody, right? Based on the numbers that were available this week alone, who did you say, yeah, too low for me, I can't possibly bet that guy?
Yeah, one was Brooks Koepka, which I saw at around 18-1 and even 20-1, because I think you're already paying the Brooks in the majors discount. Mm-hmm. And, it was very real, as we saw last year, because he led the majority of the Masters. But keep in mind, he had won that week before in Orlando on that live event. And I'm not putting too much stock into Doral last week, but he was awful. He was down there with like Lee Westwood and Mickelson and the guys that are usually in the back end of these live fields, if you've been paying attention to those events. So he was one that I did leave off. Would it shock me to see him play well? No. Jordan Spieth was another one at 22-1. He just has been all over the place this year. And that's just going round by round. You'll see rounds where it's like, okay, he makes 3 birdies in a row, and then he makes bogey, double bogey, and then makes maybe 1 par, and then makes an eagle. Like, he's all over the place, and he's dealing with that wrist injury. So I left off Spieth. Also, Ludwig Aubert, who is a player long-term I'm really high on, but Ludwig Aubert is like priced like a guy that's already won a major. Mm-hmm. If you look at him like week to week, not just this week, but even in regular PGA Tour events, less than 20-1, he's got 1 DP World Tour win and a PGA Tour win, and he's got stardom written all over him. But keep in mind, by the way, this is not only his first Masters, this is his first major championship in general.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Do you want to stay away from Hovland, who's tinkering with his swing, and Thomas, who makes the caddy change?
Yeah, both of those. And look, going into the offseason, I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to bet Victor Hovland. Like, I think this dude's going to win a major. Just wait, finish the season, winning the FedEx Cup, playing so darn well at the Ryder Cup as most of Team Europe did. But, yeah, I was wanting to add him or play him. I was wanting to play Patrick Cantlay, who I did play to win any major this year. But now I'm seeing at Circa, Patrick Cantlay is on the precipice of being 50-1.
Crazy.
And I'm so tempted to add him because I think that he has the game to win. But yeah, he has been disappointing. And he usually is in the Florida swing. He doesn't typically play well in the Florida swing, but something's not clicking with Patrick Cantlay right now. But that's a very tempting number.
Scotty Scheffler winning this event would surprise nobody, but betting him at the current number is a different story. Plus 450 is, or 4-1 in that range is Tiger Woods territory, as everybody knows at this point. Like, what's a fair number, you think? Or maybe that is fair, but what number would you need to bet him? And let's say Scotty is, hovering around top 10 after Thursday. Price is down to about 7-1 or so, 8-1. Would you look at that, consider that on a bet on him?
Yeah, I think 8-1 is probably the best you'll get for a cutoff. Well, obviously you'd like to get double digits, but those aren't going to happen when the guy. I could go like through the entire segment in terms of the categories that he is leading right now on the PGA Tour, where he is number one. Strokes gained total, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained approach, greens and regulation, birdie or better, scoring average, birdie average. He's the guy to beat, and rightfully so. So. Yeah, I'm not going to bet him at plus 450. You could bet him top 10 if you want to at minus $2. But if you do that where you get the ties paid in, where you get the dead heats paid out. I know DraftKings, BetMGM, a couple others do offer that. Well
said. Okay, let's get to some guys that you like now. So you made a good point before you came on. All this, what you talked about with Koepka, but what you said about Rory. Everyone's like, you got to bet Koepka in the majors. Well, everyone's going against Rory here because of the drought. So does that put you on Rory that no one's picking him?
A little bit, if you want to call a little bit of a contrarian play, considering he's like the second or third guy if Rahm has passed him on the board. But I like what I saw last week at the Valero. I know he was a distant third behind Batia and, of course, Denny McCarthy, who made the playoff. But look, first top 10 finish he had on the PGA Tour was last week. Of course, he won in Dubai on the DP World Tour, but he wins that event pretty much every year. He's still the best driver of the golf ball in the game. He's number one in total driving on the tour. Really where he struggled is with his irons, and he's seemingly done it routinely, but the approach play was really outstanding last week. Averaged about 1.9 strokes gained per round on approach at the Valero. His strokes that he gained in the final round, which was 3.7, that's the most he gained since he won that RBC Canadian Open 2 years ago in 2022, where he shot 62 to win on Sunday. And maybe that's paying dividends working with Butch Harmon, because he has been out here. It did come out last week that he's been out here working with Butch off and on a little bit. And I just think maybe the frame of mind here, I think he's eliminated some of the distractions, because if you recall over the winter, he resigned from that PGA Tour policy board where you have these player directors that are dealing with, the negotiations with all the different investors, including the folks from LIV. And he's been the focal point because he's been the voice that defends the honor of the PGA Tour. And I think that that's weighed on him a lot. So now he just can focus on doing the last thing that he needs to do, I think, as an individual player to cement himself as really one of the all-time greats, and that's win the career Grand Slam. But now we're 10 years and counting.
Okay, not bad.
Wes, he needs to finish the story like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Yes, he does. Yeah, absolutely. Finish the story like Cody Rhodes. Maybe he'll have The Undertaker do a run-in and help him out on Sunday and chokeslam Scotty Scheffler.
Yep. Are we regretting this one on Friday? Schauffele has got 7 top 20 finishes going back in the majors here. He's on a roll, but with that at least. But we know he can't win a major. But what do you think of Schauffele, and if you trust the putting, if he can get it done?
Yeah, I played 18-1, and he's just right behind. He's right behind Scotty Scheffler. As much of a statistical marvel as Scotty Scheffler really has been, Xander, number 2 in strokes gained total, also top 20 off the tee approach around the green. If you want to say he's got a weakness, it's the putting, because he's 80th in strokes gained putting, but he's 5th on the tour last year in the same category. So it can heat up, I think, at any moment. He actually has the longest active consecutive cuts made streak on the tour right now, 42. Scotty Scheffler, by the way, at 33, just behind. So I know he hasn't won yet this year, but I think he's been the clear second best player on the PGA Tour this year. I had him for the players and had to get out because Scotty Scheffler did what Scotty Scheffler does, where he's never too far back and then takes the lead. But look, I think his game is in much better shape than his buddy Cantlay's, certainly right now. So he's got the goods to do it. He's 30 years old now. He's been close a couple times. It's time to cash it in.
All right, cash is 50-1. Tickets are higher all the time. The GOAT in golf. Wes Reynolds, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line at X at Wes Reynolds 1. State your case for Finau, please.
Yeah, Tony Finau in the low 40s here. Played really well at Houston a couple weeks ago in defense of his title. Finished T2. The major championship form has not been good over the last 10. The previous 10 were amazing, where he had 4 top 5s and 10 top 10s in his prior 15 majors. But the tee to green performance has been really good. He's gained with the putter 3 of the last 4 starts. So, it was just kind of a numbers play. He had drifted up a little bit. So he's played well here at Augusta before. Remember, you could have argued in 2019 that he could have won the tournament. That's, of course, when Tiger won, where he's in that last group with Tiger and Francesco Molinari. Molinari goes into Race Creek on 12, and then that was all she wrote.
You also like Cameron Young?
I do, and last year around this time, he was 25-1. So now he's double the price and is in better form. He's runner-up yet again at the Valspar a couple weeks ago, where he didn't really do anything wrong. It was just Peter Malnati went bonkers with the putter on the back 9. 7 runner-ups over the last 3 PGA Tour seasons. So I've got like the wheel of losers almost this week with these guys, but. He's still searching for that victory. But remember last year, he's 3 under through 3 holes. It's like, okay, here we go. Here's Cameron Young's coming out party. And then he ended up finishing 7th. But the fact that he was 25-1, he's over double the price he was last year. 6th in strokes gained total over the last 24 rounds. Really long driver of the golf ball. I think he's going well this week.
Very cool. Wes, hang on. We want to do one more segment. You have another golfer who's been playing great golf in the outrights. And also, we do have some breaking news in the NFL. We now know who's going to be their opponent in Week 1. It's a doozy. That's coming up next here on VSiN.
Check out vsin.com. All the previews, so Wes Reynolds articles, Nigel Seeley on soccer, everything Masters related, Von Tobel on the NBA, best bets, betting splits, Odds by state, betting tools, betting guides. Check it out, vsin.com today and every day.
All right, we need a point spread up on this game as we continue here with Wes Reynolds, VSiN host, golf betting extraordinaire, also obviously very good at the NFL. We know the first game, the Eagles' opponent for Week 1 in Brazil. They're going to play on September 6th. That Friday night, they get the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, surprise. I thought it was the Brownies. All right.
I'll make the Eagles 2, guys. What do you want to do? Wes, any bets?
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Eagles 2.5 would be where I would go. Look, Green Bay is a team that I was going to be high on coming into the season, but so is the whole market.
No kidding.
The secret's out on Green Bay right now. I think that they showed what they could be late in the season.
All right, so Wes is on the Progressive Guest Line, also does a great job on the Long Shots Golf Betting podcast that we have here at VSiN. We touched on guys that you have so far. Now it writes 4 of them. 2 others we need to get to. Joaquin Niemann has been playing excellent golf on the Live Tour. What number did you bet with him? And it's changed, right, in recent weeks, so would you still advise maybe making a bet on him currently?
Yeah, anything above 30, I think, is still at least playable. I've got 50-1 from in town here, where after he won that second Live event in Jeddah, I hit on him earlier in the year at Mayakoba at a much less price, but it's shortened for good reason because, look, one of the things with Live, it's tough to find really good statistical data. Imagine that. You got an $800 billion fund behind you, and you can't create like your own shot link, and get the strokes gain data. But there was a couple places I did find some, at least, somewhat of a facsimile of the data. And on strokes gained approach, he is one of the top in the world, strokes gained tee to green, driving distance. He mentioned after he beat Sergio in that playoff down in Mexico to start the year about he's not in the majors this year. Well, Augusta National Golf Club did give him a special invitation, so he wasn't qualified under any of the criteria to be in the Masters because of the official world golf ranking, where he is 93 in the world because Live, they're not getting OWGR points because they're not playing the 72 holes and whatnot. But he's also not in any of the other majors the rest of the year. This guy probably has played like a top 10 player in the world in 2024. So he still has some urgency here, not just obviously win the tournament, but just to have a high finish because he's got to gain those world ranking points just to get himself in position, to be in the U.S. Open or to be in the PGA. He hasn't finished top 10 yet in any major championship, but you look at the 2 victories, 4 top 10s in the 5 Live events, 4 other top 5s worldwide since December, including over at Dubai on the DP World Tour earlier this year. That's really difficult to ignore.
What price did you get on Thigala?
Thigala 55-1. He was 9th here on debut last year. He shot a 67 in the final round. The ball striking has been terrific, really, because he can spray it a little bit off the tee, and then he scrambles and is just kind of a magician around the greens with the scrambling. But if you look, he has just I think he can avoid the trouble really off the tee because everybody can avoid the trouble off the tee because these fairways are the widest on the tour, about 51 yards wide on average. So, you're not going to get in that much trouble. You might get in the trees or get in the pine straw, but the rough is not very thick. It's less than 1.5 inches. So I don't think these guys that are a little bit shaky off the tee, that's how Cameron Smith has played well here over the years because he sprays it and hits everything but the lottery. So, that's what I don't think off the tee, if you're not as accurate, that's not going to kill you necessarily this week.
Who do you like as the low amateur?
Low amateur, I went with, and he's a little bit less now than 2-1. Christo Wamprecht of South Africa, and if you've never seen him before, you can't miss him because he's going to be the tallest player out there. He is 6'8", plays at Georgia Tech currently for his college golf, number 4 ranked world amateur. And if you remember him last year, if you're watching the Open Championship last summer, which Brian Harmon eventually won, he actually was tied for the lead, first-round co-leader with Tommy Fleetwood and Emiliano Grillo. He finished T74, kind of fell apart as the weekend went along, but still got the low amateur. He's as long as anyone off the tee. He'll outdrive Bryson and Rory and Rahm and Neiman and these guys that are just bombing it right now. He's going to be the longest probably of anybody off the tee this week at Augusta.
Okay, and then when you look at the live market, right, the guys that you can bet on to have the lowest score after Sunday's round is completed, the lowest live score, A lot of great golfers, obviously, on that side of it. Who do you like?
Yeah, if you were going a little bit down the board and ignoring the obvious ones like the Rahms and the Niemans and the Brooks Koepkas, Patrick Reed at around 12 to 1.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have amazing form coming in, but Patrick Reed just loves this place, and he plays well here. Remember last year, he was like nowhere, and then somehow he finished his T4 and was, on the periphery of contention here last year. And I just think Patrick Reed at 12 to 1, just the way he can scramble and the way he grinds here and just always plays well. A lot of top 5, a lot of top 10s, obviously one here in 2018. So Patrick Reed at 12 to 1, kind of in that middle range, might be where I place at least a peanut on the low live market.
What do you expect out of Tiger? He's $1.30 to miss the cut, and I think that would be a win, though, if he's able to make the cut and keep the streak alive. What say you?
Well, look, you're talking about a guy that if you take out the Hero Rule Challenge back in December, that 18-player event that they play in the Bahamas that he helps host, he has not played 4 full rounds in an official tournament since the 2023 Genesis Invitational.
Wow. Ooh.
Last year he made the cut here on the number, but remember had to withdraw, and it was a grind just for him. You could just see it physically because he had a little bit of an advantage that he played a twosome here last year because remember, Louis Oosthuizen withdrew from the tournament, so it was just Tiger and Neiman in that pairing. So when your leg is bad, you're stopping and starting a lot less, waiting for a third player instead of just waiting for one other player. So this is going to be a tough walk for him, and I think that's why you saw the market kind of go against him in the matchups. I know Phil got bet against him. Gary Woodland got bet against him in the individual matchup market because he said on Monday, look, I hurt everywhere. His leg hurts, his back hurts, the ankle, everything. He's got all kind of ailments. So I won't be surprised if he makes the cut considering he's 24, 25. He hadn't missed a cut here since 1996. That was in between where he was the low amateur in 95 and then the win for the ages, as Jim Nantz called it, in 1997 when he won for the first time here. So it's tough to bet against him to make the cut, but I would lean with the no here.
Wes does a lot of great stuff here on the network. You can read his weekly golf columns at vsin.com. Follow him on X at Wes Reynolds 1. Catch him on the Long Shots podcast and VSiN tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on VSiN. Wes, man, awesome spot as always. Thanks so much for the time. Good luck this week.
You bet, fella. Same to you.
Be good. As
Thank
you
you,
join us
sir.
on the Progressive guest line here this morning. All right, one day away now. They're going to be underway for a few hours at this point tomorrow.
Is the weather going to cooperate? I think we could be right off the bat, though. We could have some weather issues.
Looks like it maybe to begin.
All right.
There's also a trend. You mentioned this earlier, where the
late pairing?
The late pairing Thursday going into the early Friday pairing group, 8 out of the last 10 winners have been there. So the thought is here maybe that you play a decent round on Thursday, you wake up, you're fresh, you haven't had any time to think about it, you get right back on the course, and that kind of carries over to your round on Friday, as opposed to starting early Thursday morning. Then everybody else has to finish after you. You have the entire day to think about it. Try to keep yourself busy, and then you have a full day basically on Friday before you have to get back out there.
Here's your late tee times. Cam Young, Adam Scott, Brooks Koepka, Brian Harmon, Spieth, Thigala, DJ, Morikawa, Fleetwood.
I haven't heard anybody make the case for half those names. I haven't heard a single person make the case for Morikawa, not a single person make the case for Fleetwood. DJ won this year when he was blistering hot in the pandemic season. Remember when they played it back in November? I think he ran away with it then in 2020, if I recall correctly. I think you might have an angle there with Brooks Koepka and staying away because the slow play stuff drives him bananas. He wants to take a 2x4 out and smack the guy over the back.
Yep.
Right? It happened last year with Cantlay.
I can't. The Cantlay stuff's one thing. But the Sergio and Harmon stuff off the tee. Hit the ball already.
Yeah,
what are you doing with the wiggles and the...
It'll drive you nuts.
Yep. You want a vicious beat?
Sure.
I'm going to get hooked with the Warriors win total. 82-game season. I bet over 47.5. They're going to win 47.
Are they?
And then that's when you want to punish yourself. You go back and look. They lost at home to Chicago. They lost at home to San Antonio.
Oh, the bad losses, I'm sure.
They lost. They blew a game to the Knicks.
By the way, the Bulls, one more team, their win total's up in the air. They have 37. Their win total was 37.5. They can still get there.
Okay.
Up next here on VSiN, it's a numbers game with Gil Alexander. You can listen at vsin.com. Good luck tonight.
American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.